Hi there, this is Ranjit, and in this video we'll be doing the full in-depth review with pros and cons of this OnePlus 13s. And guys, this is a retail unit that I had purchased from Amazon, and now it's almost about 10 days since I've been actually using this device. So I have taken down a lot of notes of the pros, cons, and some of the nitpickings that I've noticed. In fact, I'm pretty sure some of the things that I would mention in this review nobody else would have mentioned, and I'm glad that it did take a little bit of time to review this, because in the initial 2-3 days I was super excited with this smartphone, but only later on I actually found some of the nuances that I have noticed on this phone. Overall, I would say it's still a very good smartphone, considering these days we are not getting that many compact Android flagships. But again, it's not without some of the major flaws which I'll mention. So this is the device itself, and it comes inside this box, OnePlus 13s, and I purchased the base variant that comes with the 256 gigabytes of storage and 12 gigabytes of RAM. There is also one more variant that comes with 12 gigabytes of RAM with 512 gigabytes of storage. I purchased this one for 55,000 rupees, and there was a card offer of SBI for 5,000 off, but I didn't have that card, so I had to pay the full price. In the box, you do get the charger, which is an 80-watt SuperVOOC charger, which is indirectly Oppo's fast charging. And the good thing is that I did charge with this one, and it's fast. But it's type A to type C. They should actually move to type C to type C. Most of the smartphones have done that. But good thing is that it also does support PD charging and PPS charging. But again, I did try with that, but the maximum that I was able to put is 26 watts. So yes, it will charge with third-party chargers, but don't expect the full fast charging. If you want that, you have to use it. I like that you're also getting the case inside the box. And again, as you can see, I opted for this greenish color variant. So the case is also closely matched to that, so I like that small attention to detail that we have, and the quality of the case is actually good. It does not look, many of the vendors actually just give a case for the heck of it. That's not the case. The case is a good quality one. So I actually, to be very frank, for the last 10 days I used it without the case, but yeah, that's what it is. So I'll keep these things to the side. We'll divide it between the pros and cons, but some of the major cons which was surprising on this one is, surprisingly, the Wi-Fi reception on this one was one of the worst that I've seen on any flagship, and also the camera setup, I'm not a big fan of this one. I feel they have intentionally again crippled the camera performance on this one. The camera setup, rear particularly, does not make that much sense. The back glass, I'll talk about this one. There is again a nitpicking that I have noticed, which is very strange. I'll talk about that, but let's start with the good things that I liked about this device. Let's start with the pros. And the first thing is the build quality on this phone. In fact, I have to say, this is my iPhone 16 Pro, not the Max. And in fact, if you look at it side by side, this actually resembles, I would say, the iPhone 16 Pro series very, very much. Very, very close, I would say. Yes, slightly bigger. This is also a 6.3-inch screen. But again, if you notice, the bezels, etc. are also very, very thin. And in terms of build quality, I would say they have done a very, very good job. So in terms of build quality, I have no problems with this one. It's a very, very solidly built phone. And you get that feeling that, yes, you are holding a premium device. So that way, they have done a good job. It still has an in-display fingerprint scanner. Most of the Android vendors above 50,000 are going for ultrasonic. But again, this works well, so I won't complain. So that's what it is. Back again, we have this again, back is also glass, and this is a frosted one, but there is that con that I'll talk about that later. Overall, I would say in terms of build quality, I like it, and also this does have an IR blaster, so you can configure it for remote controllers, for example ACs in your house and etc. that you have. So in terms of build quality, I would say I'm happy with this one. Only nitpicking again I have is that, yes, this also of course has stereo speakers. They're good, but again, the stereo speakers are not that super loud. The iPhone 16 Pro, the Pixel, and many of the other phones in this category have a higher volume. Now coming to the processor on this has the flagship Snapdragon 8 Elite, and I'm happy with the processor. Of course, we know that's best of the best that we have on Android. It's a very fast processor, hence everything runs very well on this one. And one thing I was a little bit worried is that, as this is a slightly smaller phone, what about heating? Yes, when I first initially set up the phone, it was getting a little bit warm, but after that, and in fact I traveled to Delhi. I was only on mobile data for about 2 days. days. Then again, I came to Hyderabad, also traveled a little bit. So 3 days it was completely on mobile data. And then also, yes, it gets slightly warm, but it simply does not get hot or anything like that. And the good thing is that even on mobile data, I've noticed that the battery life of this smartphone was actually very, very good. So that way I would say, as it's a compact phone, I was a lot worried about the heating. For example, the Xiaomi 15 is also very similar to this one in this size. In fact, I would say that heats up a little bit more than this smartphone when it was on mobile data. So that way I would say, in terms of thermals, they have actually done a good job. Day-to-day usage, I was using it, GPS, etc., stuff like that. It never like felt very, very hot to touch or something like. Slightly warm, yes, it was summer in Delhi, 42. Yeah, you can't expect anything better. But again, in that same scenario, the iPhone 16 Pro was heating up a lot more, to be very frank. So in terms of thermals, they have actually done a very good job. Regarding this, cellular call quality that I was getting on this one, I have been actually testing this with my Airtel SIM. And I have to say, the cellular call quality that I was getting on this one is spectacular. They have done a very, very good job in the cellular modem on this one. Also, no issues with proximity sensor or anything. I've taken long calls, etc. also with this one, and it worked very well. So in terms of the, cellular that is on mobile data, it works phenomenally well. Also, I took quite a bit of calls via the speaker phone, and they were also very clear. But as I've told you, the speaker phone, I was actually keeping it at the maximum volume most of the time because it's not super loud, I would say. But nevertheless, I never had issues with call quality, etc. like that. Even if you're a business person, you might take a lot of calls in that area. You don't have to worry about it. Next thing is the battery life that I'm getting on this one. This has that around 5800 milliamp hour battery, which is actually pretty good for this size of a smartphone. Yes, it's slightly on the chunkier side, I would say, but I don't mind it because the battery life that I'm getting on this one is terrific. I would say one of the best that I've seen on Android smartphone of this size, I have to say. But one thing I don't like is that if I go to the battery stats, let's go to the battery stats, it no way actually gives us actually the SOT value. Just gets the standby, and this only resets when you charge to 100%. So it is not giving me the SOT value. So to get the actual screen on time values, I had to actually use this third-party app, which is actually a paid app to get the data. And in fact, I'll show you some of the stats because this is genuinely very, very good. Of course, you have to use Google Photos. There's no built-in, I would say, gallery app as of now on this one. And if you look at the stats, look at it. This is over 2 days, 2 hours of the charger, and it was finally at 14%, and still we got 8 hours 42 minutes. And I would say if I just use it with a single day from morning and evening, you can easily get over 10-11 hours of SOT with this one. This is the regular usage, not with gaming. And again, that's the same thing. This is another day, 1 day 19 hours of the charger and 8 hours 36 minutes of SOT that we are getting. So the battery life that I was getting on this smartphone is nothing short of extraordinary. And this can be a big game changer for people who simply don't like big size phones, but they had to offer those larger big size phones, 6.7 and 6.8 inch or more, just because of the battery life. So in that area, I would say they have done a phenomenal job. And the good thing is that the battery life, even on mobile data, was actually good. What I've noticed sometimes is that many phones actually get excellent battery life when it's on mobile data, especially if you're on a Wi-Fi 6 network, etc. But on mobile data, the battery tanks drastically. That was not the case. The variation that I was getting between mobile data and Wi-Fi was just less than 10%, which is excellent in my frank opinion. So battery life is a champ on this smartphone. Another thing I've noticed is that in the presentation, they say that this smartphone will also get that lifetime green line warranty. If the green line comes even after the regular warranty, it will be honored. So that's actually a good thing. I would say entire industry should do that because this green line issue is being plagued by every manufacturer. It's nice to see that OnePlus is offering that. How well will they honor it? That's another question, but that's it. In terms of UI also, I like that you have this shelf. I'm not using it. Left, if you go, you have the Google pane, and again, a very clean sort of experience. There are some OnePlus specific apps, even Facebook, etc. was installed. But I would say I won't call the apps bloatware or something like that. For example, let's see if the Facebook app can be uninstalled. I did uninstall it. If I go to app, yes, you can uninstall it. So that way I would say this is one of those Android smartphones that is having relatively a cleaner experience. Yes, there are some of the OnePlus own apps like their App Store, etc. They have started to bundle all this app market and all these things. Earlier, we never used to have that, but yeah, that's what it is. Indirectly, I would say it's Oppo's skin being called, what do you say, OnePlus. But again, overall, it has been working very, very well. And if I go to about the device, as you can see, this is what it is. And again, the storage is the base variant, it's 256 gigabytes. But again, it is also UFS 4 storage. So in terms of specs, as I've told you, specs that Snapdragon 8 Elite that you're getting, and RAM is again 12 gigabytes. And I actually disabled the RAM expansion. If I recall, the RAM expansion was enabled by default. But I frankly feel 12 gigabytes of RAM by itself, you don't need RAM expansion. So I did all my testing while disabling it. And so again, the battery life was, and also one more thing, some of you might ask me, also in the display, screen resolution by default was set to standard. I did all my testing on this high. So definitely I would say the battery life is very good. I played around with the high and auto select, but I felt that auto select is a very good thing. And even when I'm keeping it on auto, I'm not getting any jankiness or anything on this one. And in fact, I would say the UI is very, very smooth. They have optimized it very well. So that way they have done actually a good job on this one. One slight nitpicking I have is that the haptics generally on OnePlus flagships used to be excellent, the O haptics that we call. And if you have used any OnePlus older flagship, you'll notice that here I would say the haptics are not as great as the regular OnePlus devices. That is a slight disappointment in my frank opinion, because I have been expecting excellent haptics with OnePlus flagship. Here the haptics are slightly muted in my frank opinion. Also, another thing, again, they're trying to copy, what do you say, iPhone. So again, we also have this dynamic island. So if I use it, as you can see, it shows some of the stuff over here. And I noticed one or two apps actually taking advantage of this. So I don't mind, because the implementation is done well on this one. I miss that physical, what do you say, slider that we had is gone. So this is what we are having. And in fact, some of the apps, for example, if you leave it shows that, okay, you have done on. So again, it's slightly on the nice implementation that they have done. Yes, they're copying what Apple has done, but again, the implementation is done. And it's not very intrusive in my frank opinion. So these were some of the things that I liked about this device. Now let's move to some of the things that I did not like. The first thing, and this was so surprising to me, is regarding the Wi-Fi reception that I was getting on this smartphone. And again, guys, this is the retail unit that I purchased from Amazon, so you might be also getting the same. I have to say the Wi-Fi reception on this smartphone is one of the weakest that I've seen among any flagships. In fact, any other smartphone with the Snapdragon 8 Elite Wi-Fi performance was way better than this one. And I was very surprised, why is this happening? And I did a little bit of digging, and I found that instead of using the Wi-Fi chipset that Qualcomm offers, OnePlus is actually using their own independent Wi-Fi chipset. And here I would say this actually works well. But again, what I notice is that the Wi-Fi range on this smartphone is among the weakest. There is certain areas in this house where if I take any other smartphone, the Wi-Fi, bars go down to middle, but it never disconnects and you can use it. But this one was actually disconnecting in those areas, and this happened n number of times. So definitely I have to say the Wi-Fi reception on this one, particularly if you're having a mesh network or something like that, is very poor on this one. So that is something that I have noticed on this one. Also, as they are copying iPhone, etc., one thing I'm missing is that, for example, on iPhones and everything, if you have notifications or etc., it gives a number like this, for example, yes, the calls or whatever. But here again they are not doing it. For example, you have so many 100 WhatsApp messages. A number like this on this one would have done a good job. In terms of customization, I like the UI because icons etc, you can customize the shape etc, you can do the size, all this, but I couldn't find a way to do that. Maybe I'm missing something. So that is again a missing thing that I've noticed. Next thing is regarding the back glass. I don't know if the camera is able to capture this. Again, this is a matte glass and these technically should resist your fingerprints, but this one is the poorest. I have actually cleaned it and you get a lot of streak marks on this one. Initially I was worried why it is happening, but if you just polish it with the, what do you say, handkerchief or something, they go away. But this is the worst that I have seen among any flagship, what do you say, smartphone that is having a matte glass. For example, this is the iPhone, what do you say, 16 Pro. This is way older. This is like, this will be almost like 8-9 months. When it launched, I purchased it. Again, it also has that kind of a glass, but you don't see the fingerprint. This is what this is the Pixel 9 Pro. Again, this also has that matte glass or etc, but you don't see those streaks etc, and this again have been used a lot more than this one. So I don't know the kind of coating what they have done on this smartphone back glass specifically, and again if your hands are sweaty or something like that, these actually show up quite a bit. It might not be visible, but if the naked eye, it is easily visible. So I would urge that you use a case with this one because it can look a little bit very grimy at the end of the day. So I don't know why they did that, but that's what it is. Now moving to some of the minor quibbles, and I will call this nitpicking, is that this one comes with only IP65 rating, and I was surprised because this cost over 50,000. Many smartphone, example, if we even look at the Motorola H60 Fusion or whatever, it comes for 20 to 23,000, is offering IP68, 69. I don't know, if you can't offer IP68, at least IP67 at this price point. So I'm a little bit curious why they went with only IP65 rating for this smartphone. Next thing is that front-facing camera is a 32 megapixel. In fact, the front-facing camera is pretty good on this one. We'll come to the cameras, but for some reason they have restricted the video recording with the front-facing camera to only 4K 30 FPS, not 4K 60, which is definitely supported by the chipset. This is the damn flagship chipset. You can even enable 8K video recording if you really want to do that, but I don't know why they are limiting it. Also, I am not too much worried about this one, but yeah, this one does not have wireless charging, and also they have removed that SOT values from the battery stats. Why did you do that? The battery life is so good, so why are you trying to hide that SOT values? And again, as I've already mentioned, another small nitpicking, the haptics are sort of average. Now let's come to the camera on this one, where I feel again they gimped it quite a bit. Both the rear facing cameras, the main and the telephoto, are 50 megapixel. Fine. It does not have an ultra wide. Okay, fine. But the thing is that the telephoto is just 2x. And these days with the primary, that is a 50 megapixel, you can even use the, what do you say, 50 megapixel to zoom to 2x and you get almost lossless photographs. So I don't get the logic of having just a 2x telephoto camera. They should have indirectly gone for a 3x telephoto camera. That would have been definitely better. The front is actually a 32 megapixel. And again, I won't waste too much time on the camera's settings or whatever. Again, in decent lighting, there is very less lag, but again in low lighting there is quite a bit of blur. I'll show you actually some of the samples to get an idea, but again, as you can see here, you have the 2x which is using optical, and again it jumps to that 4x zoom also via this one. Let me actually now show you the sample shot with this smartphone. Let's start with indoor lighting, artificial lighting conditions, and here in a typical restaurant kind of lighting, it's done. This is 1x. This is actually that 2x zoom. The picture became a little bit dark, and this was finally that 4x zoom. You also get that natural background blur very easily with this one if you want, and gives that very good effect. Some random shots at airport. I was traveling to Delhi. This was taken in the morning and enough light, but again the picture simply didn't have any punch in my frank opinion. This was taken in artificial lighting 1x, and 2x. There is slight color difference between them. These were taken around my house. This was that 1x shot, this was 2x. One more example, this is at 1x, this is at 2x, and finally this was at 4x. Till evening the pictures come out good, but in very low lighting conditions the shutter lag is too much and you'll get blurs. This pic was shot with the front facing camera. This was in Delhi, and generally the pictures that come out with the front facing camera, these were taken in the normal mode, actually come out good, and these were in the portrait mode. In the portrait mode you can also zoom in a little bit, but overall I would say the front facing camera performance was good. Recording this with the rear facing camera, and yes, it can record in 4K, and the good thing is that with the rear facing camera at least it can record even in 4K 60 fps. This is in 4K 30 fps, and just wanted to give you an idea. I'm just going to climb the stairs to see how is the stabilization. So I just climbed the stairs, and as this does not have ultra wide, but we can zoom in within the video while shooting. This is the 2x zoom, and this is that one more 4x crop. I'll just go back to the 1x, and I'll just go back and focus. It is hunting sometimes. Now it did fine. So yeah, anyways guys, I'm just climbing down. Stabilization at least looks good, but this is a very quick video sample recorded in 4K at 30 fps. Here is a quick sample recorded with the front facing camera. The front facing camera can record in 4K, but 4K 30 fps is the maximum. I was surprised not to see 4K 60 fps because the chipset definitely can handle it. So I don't know why they didn't give an option. And the audio is also being recorded via the same. So you guys let me know, what do you feel about the video recording with the front facing camera? The rear facing camera, I'm a little bit confused with the setup. It's a 1x, that's the main, and then the second camera is just a 2x zoom telephoto. They should have gone with the 3x telephoto zoom, because even with the primary you can easily zoom to 2x. So I don't get that logic. But anyways, this is the footage with the front facing camera at 4K. So guys, this is the OnePlus 13s smartphone. Certainly I have to say a very powerful, compact Android smartphone that we are getting in the Indian market. And the exceptional thing is the battery life that you will get on this one. But I frankly feel this is a good phone, but could have easily been a great smartphone. But I don't know why they gimped the camera a little bit with the weird configuration, as I mentioned. Also, that Wi-Fi performance is not among the best that I have noticed, to be very, very frank. And some of the other small nitpickings and nigglings that I have mentioned in the video. So I would say it's a good smartphone, but I would say it's not a great smartphone at the price point of around 55,000. But still, again, if the cons that I have mentioned to you don't affect you that much, you can certainly go with this one. Again, as I've told you, I have purchased this one from Amazon, so I'll leave the link in the description. So if you're purchasing, use the link. It does help the channel. And again, guys, that is the review of this OnePlus 13s. What do you guys feel about the same? Do let me know in the comment section below. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video. Take care, guys.